Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
Welcome to our podcast. We're so glad you guys are here today.
Creator-based Life,
Yeah.
the podcast of CMH Coaching. Jacine has worn many, many hats already today, and it's only lunchtime at her house. So we're going to let her lead the podcast as well. But I'll help, just another great hat. We're here to help. You want to introduce folks?
Yeah. So we have Beth, who is the creator and founder of the Creator-Based Way, CMH Coaching. And she is like the mimsy of how many grandkids?
The great and powerful Mimsy. That's what they'll say.
Great.
Yep, best Mimsy ever, the great and powerful, like Oz.
I love it. I love it. And she, like Jen, loves to garden and absolutely loves putting content out, just like Monday Morning Inspiration and this podcast and free coaching sessions, just all kinds of things, just because she loves being able to help others to find the creator inside themselves. So
I'm kind of a junkie for sharing good news, and
I
this is definitely good news.
sharing good news. Yeah. And then we have Jennifer DeRoos. And Jennifer she is an amazing,
Hypnotherapist.
a therapist. I was like, boy, she does
What she does, she just does so well.
she does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we love Jen, and she loves gardening also. I am the one who doesn't, but Jen and Beth both love gardening. And
Yeah, but you tell about horses and snowmobiling and hiking and yada, yada, yada.
and Jen is an outdoors girl too. Like, she really is. She is such an outdoors girl and grew up in Utah, right, Jen?
Yeah, northern Utah.
Yeah, so in the mountains. And yeah, her mountains now are, how tall do you think your mountains
Oh, mine are considered from the west. They're hills, but they're they're Appalachians, and so they're very old and worn down, just like I am.
You are not old. I don't know if you're worn down or not, but you might be droopy today.
I'm droopy today. I feel like my mountain's old and worn down, but no.
Yep. I get that feeling.
I think droopy is a great way to put it. Yeah. Some days we feel a little droopy, and that makes today's conversation like so powerful, because is this the seventh C, Beth? I can't remember which.
This is the 8th C, connection.
Connection. And
8th C, because this morning I finished writing about the 9th C, and I'm even more excited to talk about that one than connection.
I don't know how Be more excited to talk about connection. Let me start just with how the Monday morning inspiration email starts. And it's just this beautiful picture of a mama walking down to the water on the beach, holding her little girl. And I just love it. And here's the quote. It's love, joy, love, dignity, connection, and freedom. These are the birthrights. Not
They're birthrights.
birthrights. They're not prizes to be won. I deserve them now. This is very second, this very second, this very second. Not because I'm performing well, but because I'm alive. And that was by Catherine. And I don't have my glasses on it, so
It's Catherine Schaefer. Yeah, Catherine Schaefer.
Catherine Schaefer. And just what a beautiful way. Can we just talk about that? That quote?
I really love the phrase of, I deserve them this very second, not because I'm performing well. Jen, doesn't that feel good on a droopy day?
Oh, yeah.
I deserve these beautiful things, these joy, love, dignity, connection, and freedom, not because I'm performing well, but because I'm upright and breathing. I'm alive.
It's my right as a human being.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But that just comes from being a human being.
And there are some countries and some places in the world that don't acknowledge that, right?
Yeah.
That
It doesn't change the truth.
doesn't
Even
change.
if you were persecuted somewhere over there, it's still truth.
Yeah.
Because you are alive. You have these birthrights.
It's our birthright because we came from a loving Father in heaven.
Right.
And that was given to each and every one of us as a birthright.
As was choice.
And so when we think about that in the realm of connection, like how does that connect? Knowing that that's our birthright, love, joy, dignity, and connection, and freedom, knowing that's our birthright. What does that have to do with connection, guys?
I look at this quote and I see connection and freedom together. And that's what happens for me. When I connect, it looses the bands of grumpiness and droopies that are on me, and I feel free. When I connect with my girls, when I connect with my people, maybe not when I connect with my anger, or not when I connect with my, whatever the grumpiness is, but the human connection of being together, it is freedom for me to feel that connection. It's really cool. And I was telling you guys before we got started, I had just the worst headache, better part of the morning, worst headache. But I just, as I was working, would think, pretend my head would say, pay attention. I'd say, yeah, but we're going to go meet for the podcast. We're going to meet the girls and it's going to feel better. Because of the connection. It's the energetic connection that we get when we're together. It's really interesting. Yeah, it's freedom. And like my neck loosens up and my head doesn't hurt. It's weird, but it's real.
I really like that. I'm actually working on a nonverbal communication course that I'm going to be teaching at our national convention at the end of April, beginning of May. And something I coach on often is as doctors or a team member enters the patient's room, how important that connection is. Because, if you're a patient, like when I'm a patient, I'm sitting there, I either feel horrible if I'm in a doctor's office.
That's the only thing that drives me there.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a yearly visit or whatever it looks like. But usually there's anxiety that is a part of that appointment. And you're sitting in a cold, sterile room, waiting for the doctor or the nurse to come in or somebody to come in. And what's that going to look like? What questions are they going to ask? Are they going to draw my blood? What, blah, 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 right? So the importance of making a connection just as you first walk in that room. I love what you said about freedom, Beth, because that resonated with me, because as I'm training doctors and team members, it's when you walk in that room, your number one job is to comfort. to
Yes.
comfort and connect with the patient who's sitting right there. That's your
Yeah.
number one job. And we do that by being present, 100% present when we walk in the room. It's eye to eye, sometimes knee to knee. I'm not going to stand above the patient. I'm going to sit down as a doctor and I'm going to say, I'm going to lean forward and I'm going to say, tell me about what's going on. I'm not going to sit
Right. As if that is the only person in the world, just
Yeah.
the two of you, that full
Yes.
presence. Yeah.
And that provides the connection. But what that provides me as a patient is freedom. It's freedom from worry. It's freedom
Yes.
from anxiety. It's freedom, right? I have somebody who's right here, who's present with me, who cares enough about me to ask me the questions and to listen. That's the number one. I have had doctors that ask questions, but I don't feel like they're listening. They're just typing on their computer. Like, come on, guys.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, that's my little thing of connection. Jen, what are you thinking?
Oh, lots of things.
Good. We love it when you think of lots of things.
I am thinking of meaningful connections because we can have connections that aren't like what you're talking about, that aren't like purposeful and meaningful and like.
Well, like when the doctor comes and he sits down and says, tell me about it, but his brain is thinking about the next patient.
Right.
Yeah, or even like social butterfly people, like they just go into little touches here and there, and it's like, so I just think there's all different types of connections that we make in our lives, but the ones that I think are really the nourishing ones are the meaningful connections, the ones that are relationship based, and we can't have a lot of those because we just aren't able to.
Right.
And so, like in the situation of a doctor's office, we have a certain type of connection. And in like a friendship, we have a certain type of connection. In a family, we have a certain type of connection. So I'm just kind of thinking about the different type of connections, the connectedness in my life, and what relationships those are, and what purposes they serve. And I'm also thinking about like there's other things like being connected to the things that you enjoy, like gardening. That's a connection to earth, being connected to your creator. That's a connection. Being connected to your parent, your pets, like your horses, JC. Like there's different types of, I think, connections that serve us in different ways. So that's just kind of what I've been thinking of.
I love that. And then that leads me to wonder, why would Dick Schwartz, when he did his internal family systems model, have connected be one of his C's?
Because you need to connect to your inner parts. Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people they stay away.
Oh,
because it's painful.
Scary.
And it's scary. And those intense emotions of anger, frustration, sadness, loneliness, even like trauma could be too much for you, or you feel it's too much for you. But that's your greatest area of growth and understanding of self. So connectedness is big. It's like creating that big connected unity family.
It's the family. Yeah, the family unity. I can see that. Your connected self, then the centered self, is like the doctor that comes into the waiting room and gives you two eyes and maybe knee to knee and full presence. Yes.
Yeah. And it's the way that I view self is the ultimate parent, the all-encompassing, loving, charitable, all the C's. Part of me that can love and meet the needs of those parts that are hurting or without. So yeah, that's
the unconditional love.
I also like to kind of view it as like my highest, greatest spiritual self, and come from that area.
And that would be Christ-centered for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because he is the ultimate, when it comes to connection, to connecting people. Yeah.
And a good way to judge if you're in self or not in self is just ask yourself, how do I feel towards this emotion, or how do I feel towards this part, or this experience, or this belief? And if it's nothing that's if it's out of those seeds, if it's not out of love, like if you feel
It's not
frustrated,
compassionate or
then you're not in self. Then you're like, oh, I'm being driven by another type of part or belief.
Outside source. Outside belief.
Most likely inside source, but
yeah.
but not the centered self, not the self. And so that helps me distinguish when I'm doing the work, that I'm like, oh, I'm frustrated with not being able to resolve this. I need to step back and find that love space, that charitable space, that clarity space. Yeah.
What's your favorite way to do that, to step back and get into that space?
Get curious about what's going on. I'm all about curiosity.
And so you'll you just sit quietly and wonder.
And I just ask, what's going on here? Why do I feel this way? Why am I angry, at this?
It's funny because my go-to is connectedness. I connect to my creator and I'm like, I'm feeling really angry. Can you help me see? And it's like, then I guess maybe then I get curious, but the connection for me makes all the difference, because it brings me into my whole self, my revealed self, if you will, not my face that I give to the world self, but my vulnerable, revealed self with my creator. Yeah. What about you, Jacine? What's your process like? Yeah, I'll bet you it's a hybrid.
It kind of is. Yeah. It very much is. And I think it's really situation dependent, if that makes sense. For that connection. I as you guys were talking, I was thinking, I teach an early morning seminary class to high school kids, and like connecting with them is usually just like as they're entering the room. And I didn't do it this morning. And that's why I was like, oh, that's what was.
Tell the story. What happened?
That was what, So when I greet them as they come in the room, it's usually just a touch on the shoulder or just a squeeze on their arm. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah. Look at how was your weekend? That kind of stuff. But it's always just a small touch. And for me, I am very much a touch girl. Like I connect more on that. I have one kid that I know, not a toucher, right? So with him, I honor his space, and I don't, and I'm just, it's just conversation, but it's that connecting. And this morning, I was rearranging some tables and talking with my teaching partner, and didn't make that connection. And I missed that. Is what was missing this morning. When I don't have that initial connection, it makes it difficult for me to, something's missing. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. And so when you started teaching, did it kind of feel like it was flat?
It was disconnected.
Disconnected.
Yeah. It was disconnected. Yeah. Flat. It was just disconnected. It wasn't. So that was an aha moment. Get curious. Why do we feel disconnected? Well, I didn't take that time this morning to connect. I didn't plug in, right?
Well, and it sounds like it kind of supercharges your lesson and your time with the kids.
It does.
If they're connected to begin with.
Right. Yeah. And it again, same thing like with my patients when they walk in to the clinic. If you're a new patient, I'm not going to sit behind my desk and welcome you. That's not welcoming. I'm going to get up from behind my desk. I'm going to come around and I'm going to shake your hand. Welcome. I'm so glad you made it. Right.
Yeah.
So it's just a different point of connection. Yeah.
It's so interesting. Okay. So how can we do an application for this in our personal lives? I can tell you this, my head feels better. It's not all the way gone, but it feels better. It's like, it's not sharp now, it's dull, which is cool. Just from the connection. I know because I've experienced this many times when I come to do Coach and Clear, or when I come to do Mastermind, because it's in the evening. By the time we get there, I'm like, I'm just so tired. But once I get started with the girls, I'm energized because we make that connection. So What do you think that is? If we were going to look at that energetically, or if we're going to look at that in a neurochemical kind of way, what is that? Why does connection have such a profound impact on us?
Hmm. Great question.
I think when we meet for connection and commonality, like in purpose, there can be like a synergistic energy that happens. And I think that's what happens when we meet to do this, when we meet to do like Coach and Clear. So it's like, it's a purposeful connection. And there's just an energy that's about it, a spirituality.
Is it maybe our energies actually meld? I know that when we sing in a choir, and we've been singing as a group of individuals, and then we're collectively unified on one song, as we stay there, they have shown that the heartbeat of the people that are in the choir will come into synchrony, and they will beat as one unit, the heart, which I find fascinating. And I've kind of entertained that idea in conjunction with resonance, and the unity of resonance, because I know we had so much fun with this. The grand piano at the front of the church building, the community piano at the back of the cultural hall, big room, like what would you say? Maybe 200 yards in length. Yeah. And so you could go to the front of the room. It was so much fun to show the kids this. Have one kid at the back of the room watching the strings of the community piano, and then have another kid at the front of the room with the grand piano, and then pluck the string of the grand piano so that it's got a good sound coming from it, and watch the string in the back of the room resonate exactly the same way. If it's the middle C on the front of the room, it's going to be the middle C that vibrates at the back of the room. So I kind of just wonder energetically if we don't all just kind of sync up, and then we're sharing our energies and we all feel better. Like when you're sitting with a friend who's got a headache, or you're sitting with a friend who's really sad, don't you just naturally become unified in those feelings?
Think about excitement is contagious.
Oh, it's so contagious.
So is negativity. So it's like,
yes.
There's certain things that when we connect purposefully, meaningful,
Yeah. Well, and even if we're not meaningfully connected, I mean, I know I can hang with a group of friends who are just plain grumpy and find myself getting snarky right along with them. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Ideally, we want to be with people who lift us up more than drag us down. But sometimes that snarky feels pretty good.
Sometimes I just have to let it out.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I think it's really important that we acknowledge and learn and then acknowledge what helps us, what is our best way of connecting. So like Jen's talking about curiosity. I know mine is touch. Beth, what would you say your number one tool for connection would be?
Well, if it's connecting with another human being, it's probably touch.
Touch, yeah.
Or words. I'm a junkie for words. You know that.
Words are really powerful too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have found
a hug. I'm a really big hugger too.
I've also found that people will talk about themselves. So I'll ask them questions, get curious,
Yeah.
Yeah. And that draws them out and you connect.
I know with me, like when I feel disconnected from my husband, I can be laying in bed and just be, you know how you just have that energy of like, oh,
yeah.
But if I can choose to let that go and just say, here's what I need. And oftentimes it's just a thought that I have, snuggle up to me. You're feeling this way, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling irritated, whatever it is, snuggle up to him. And sometimes you're just like, I
don't want to snuggle up. But it melts when you snuggle in, right?
Yes, it does. And it's
just like butter.
It's interesting because oftentimes I can feel almost an electricity go pass between me and him, and he just like folds into that, right?
Yes. And
Yeah,
that folding
it
in feeling.
repairs. Yeah, it repairs like almost like a tapestry, right? It's like the string got pulled, and now all of a sudden we're reconnecting it. And now it's going back into how it needs to. Yeah.
Yes, to be one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
I
we are
like that.
built for connection. What are you going to say, Jen?
I just said I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. It's really good. Okay, so you're besides hugs and physical connection, what other ways do you feel really connected with people? We're going to get some ideas, just some ideas for people for ways to connect.
Music. Music.
Oh, yes.
Powerful for me. Music.
Powerful. Yes. And I
Mhm.
do love singing with a choir or with a small group. Just the unity that is there. You feel so solid in each
Yes.
other. Yeah.
I have found for me um, is when I listen to somebody, like really like just listen. And then when they listen to me, it's like there's not a lot of really good listeners out there. You know what I'm
True.
saying? And so I feel really connected when somebody just really like just sits quietly and listens. And then, but it's also a reciprocal thing.
Uh-huh.
Like it's like, and I sit quiet and listen to them. I feel connected to that person when I'm trying to understand them.
Okay, so question. In
Mm.
your listening, do you do better with uh-huh or do you do better with silence when you want to be listened to?
If I want to be listened to,
You want to
Mm.
feel heard.
it's actually it's nonverbal. It's body language to me.
All right. Tell me about that. What's the body language?
Yep.
Um, I just had this experience. This is interesting. Um, not like not just listening with your ears, but with your eyes. Like not be looking all over the place and everything. Like just
No phones.
absolutely no phones, no phones. If somebody picks up their phone and starts, I'm like, I'm not going
I'm
to share.
done.
I'm just not going. I'm done. I'm done.
Mm.
Yeah, but no, it's that nonverbal, intentional listening. Maybe they lean in a little bit, maybe they don't. But there's a lot of like eye contact going on.
Some
Yeah,
nodding, some.
nodding, some
Mm.
little here's and there, but yeah,
Mostly physical,
yeah.
nonverbal.
And then if it's something that's well, I think it's a combination too, because I'm just thinking if it is something that like there's a emotional connection and there's something that we're discussing, that's just it, we're discussing. So there's the questions, they ask questions, they don't tell me,
Mhm.
and so it's like they really want to understand.
They're not
And
trying to fix you.
it's a skill I've had to learn myself. Yeah.
Mm.
But the
Yeah.
more I learned about it, the more I realized it really bugs me when people but I've just learned you just don't
Yeah.
you, yeah
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
just
There
you
are
just
so many different learning styles. I know people, I mean, listening styles. I know people who, to be listened to, want absolutely no words to come back at them at all,
Mhm.
who just want to speak uninterrupted until they're finished, however long that is.
Mhm.
And then I know people who love to leapfrog,
Yeah.
right in the middle of the sentence, you go to the next thing and then you leapfrog over each other and you've got this going on.
Mhm.
And then, like you were saying, there's the nonverbal,
Mhm.
the leaning in. It's almost like the different ways to connect with touch, right?
That's
Right. Without
interesting, Beth.
touching. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting because as you're talking about that, I'm thinking, to me, there's also, it's situational because if we're in like a session where we're trying to like, collaborate and learn and do something, of course, the leapfrog is amazing.
So much fun.
So, so there's different types of like so I guess I have a bunch of different types that I do. Yeah. Yeah.
If we're aware, we all do, right? And a lot of it is we're going to go back to presence, which has been the forefront of this year, is just that the gift of presence. And when we're present, we can figure out, oh, what is our connection style at this point, or with this person, or
Yeah.
in a situation, what does it look like? Yeah, because it
Well, and
will
I've
be
seen
different.
with presence, it's almost like we just intuit,
Mhm.
you just know
Yeah, yeah.
where you are. Yeah.
Sometimes it can be, I think I've shared before, but um, at a really low point in my life, just I went out for a run, and I was not, we were actually on vacation, and just due to a situation, things just weren't going well. And I went out for a run, and as I was running, there was a woman coming towards me. And like this will always, all she did was smile and acknowledge me
She
and look
saw
me
it.
in the eye. She saw me, like she saw me, and I saw her.
Yeah.
And like, to me, she was an angel sent there, like on an earthly angel that was just right there, just for me to connect with me in a way that nobody else could. And so you just don't know. There are so many opportunities that we think are just not big deals. But if she knew the profound impact that smile had on me that day and that moment,
Yeah.
man, yeah, it was,
Well, isn't it interesting that a smile can produce a physical change?
yeah.
Nonverbal.
Nonverbal. Yeah, you're right there, Jed. Nonverbal. All right. So if our listeners would like to do more things to be more connected, what would you suggest? Can I just say, I'll give you a minute to think, but can I just say that our Tuesday Coach and Clear group is amazing for connection. This group has been, we've been doing this Tuesdays for about 2 years now. And it is, everybody comes in a different mood, in a different way, with different struggles, because everybody comes in with their struggle for the week to talk about what they'd like to change for that week. And so there can be a little bit of griping going on in there. But it's so interesting because it's that same idea. Everybody that comes in gets a chance if they want to. Some people come in with no visual and no audio. They just come in to feel that connection.
Mhm.
Yeah. But a lot of people will come in with their visual, their video and their audio on. And as the group, just people begin to say what they'd like to see out of the session, you can watch things begin to snowball with the connection, because you'll get to about the third or the fourth girl and they'll be saying, oh yeah, that's what I want. Oh, like, yeah, let's just work through what each person would like to have happen as a result of the session. And by the time we've worked it through and talked about it as a group, it's like this unified single thing that people would like to have happen. And the heartbeat of the group synchronizes, like as if we were singing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really enlivening, really good for the soul. So that's connection. That's one suggestion. Coach and Clear. It's amazing.
Well, I think I'm gonna have to plug book club too then.
Yes, plug book
Club
club.
on Wednesdays at 1:30 Central Time. It's the same thing. We're all reading the same book.
Talk
And
about that book, because I've been listening to it and it is a hoot.
isn't she
It
funny?
is so
Oh
funny.
my gosh. It's called 3 Miles per Hour, The Adventures of One Woman's Walk Around the World. And she literally walked around the world. And it's Polly Letofsky, Letofsky. I haven't learned how to say her name right.
I just searched for it as 3 miles per hour and Polly, and it came right up.
3 MPH. Yeah.
Yeah, MPH.
Yeah. And just the connections that she has on her journey, people that help her when she needs help, just it really is a really cool opportunity. And in fact, and book club this week, that's what we're going to be talking about, is the connections that she's having along her journey. Yeah.
So fun.
So that is another way, if you're a book lover, find a
Yeah.
book club, join our book club. And the way to do
There's no charge. Just read the
Yeah.
book and show up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a way that we can connect.
Go to the Facebook page. What is the Facebook page?
50/50 Girl Club.
50/50 Girl Club, and it's
And
pinned
it's
at the
not the
top.
page, it's the group. So we actually have a page, 50/50 Girl Club, but then you want to go to groups and 50/50 Girl Club and request to join the group.
Yeah. And then you'll have access to that link in order to just come to book
Yeah.
club these days. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so good. So we've got singing, and we've got talking, and we've got touching and hugging and getting together as a group. Jen, do you have a favorite?
Oh, I'm sure I do. What I'm thinking about is maybe a good place to start is just start to identify the way that you connect. And in doing so, maybe you can identify ways that you would want to better connect. If that's how you want to start. Because there's all different ways, and maybe some ways are going to really resonate, and there's going to be some ways it'll be difficult, maybe not pleasurable or maybe not easy, but maybe they'll be really rewarding. Who knows? So that's just kind of what my thoughts are.
Just be aware, look for the connections, right?
See what you already connect, how you connect, and then in ways that maybe you can expand that.
Yeah.
And those of you that are watching on YouTube, I'm going to share a picture because this, to me, this came to my mind as I was thinking of connection. Because if you just look at the faces of the connection going here.
Oh, wow.
Right? Isn't that incredible?
You can like draw lines between people for the connection.
Yes.
I mean, it's very connected.
It is so connected, and they're all connected to Jet, and whatever he's saying, everyone is fully engaged.
Not only emotionally, but also physically. You can see the way everyone's touched.
Yes.
The physical touch, like Jen was talking about, the nonverbal cues, you can really see leaning in and touching and
smiling.
And the smiles.
And the eyes. I mean, you just look at the eyes, right?
Yeah. There's so much power in the eyes.
Now you all who are listening to the podcast have to go to our YouTube so you can see this picture.
Yep.
Just endearing. Yeah.
Yep. At the Creator Based Way. I think that's our YouTube. Just to go at Creator Based Ways. Yeah. We're there. That is really cool. That's beautiful, Jacine.
Yes.
Yeah. Connection is so powerful. You can begin to see why it's part of our centered self and how it's an eternal thing. It's not temporary. It's actually eternal, which is amazing to make those connections, nurture them here physically, and then carry them on energetically and spiritually as you go, whether you're with people or not. And one more plug, I since COVID have really come to love just going to sit at Starbucks. Because living in the country without a lot of people around, there is an energetic feel or connection that just comes with being physically present with people. And to take my laptop and to go work with I'm the weird person who goes to Starbucks and asks for a double cup of hot water. Can you, it's 2 cups full of hot water with a sleeve, please, because I want it to be so hot that it doesn't burn my hand.
I have a grande hot water, please.
Yes. And then I go to pay them for it. And I'm like, so what do I owe you? And they're like, I don't even know how to charge for that. I'm like, can I just pay a few bucks for the service? And then I pop my herbal tea bag into it. And they have good water at Starbucks,
They do.
It's super filtered and it's good water. Yeah. But then to work on my laptop and just sit in a group like that, the energy is really good. It's real interesting. So sometimes it's online is great. And sometimes you just need real life people and the real life energy. Yeah. And it's great.
I had to go. So as we were talking, because I mentioned the tapestry, it reminded me of a poem that it was credited to Corrie Ten Boom, but somebody else said that they did it, but whatever. But it's a great poem, and it's called The Tapestry. Can I read it?
Oh, please do. Yes.
Okay. The Tapestry. Life is but a weaving between the Lord and me. Cannot choose the colors. He weaveth steadily. Oft times he weaveth sorrow, and I am foolish pride. forgets he sees the upper and I the underside. Not till the loom is silent and the shuttles cease to fly will God unroll the canvas and reveal the reason why. The dark threads are as needful in the weaver's skillful hand as the threads of gold and silver in the pattern he has planned. He knows, he loves, he cares. Nothing this truth can dim. He gives the very best to those who leave the choice to him.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that book, Corrie Ten Boom.
Oh, I do
The
too.
Hiding Place. Such
Yeah.
an amazing book. Yeah. That's beautiful. What a perfect ending.
Yeah.
So let's go connect and weave. We'll become weavers. Yeah.
Weavers, yes.
Yes. Y'all have a beautiful week, and we will create together. And come see us on CMH Coaching. You'll be glad you did. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, y'all. We'll see you soon. Bye.
I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on Linktree/CMHcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Moment by moment, it's all up to me, 'cause what I think